Hey girlies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be doing another tutorial using my tropical Twilight collection. So we're going to be doing a blue look, which is why I'm wearing a blue top, blue purple smoky eye type of vibe. But first we're going to start with foundation. So I'm using the XX Revolution foundation and I'm going to mix the shade 13.5 and 12.5 just because 13.5 was a bit too dark for me. It is my perfect shade like when I'm out in the sun and actually outside, but because I'm not going outside that much, you know, because of everything going on, mixing in a tiny bit of 12.5 just works a bit better for me. And I'm just gonna blend that all over. You see how the shade just fits me so much better. I mean, it's not ideal to have to mix two shades because they are £15 each, so altogether it's like a £30 foundation now, but gotta do what I gotta do. The actual formula of this foundation is beautiful, full coverage, dries down matte, lasts all day, and it just feels lovely on the skin, like nice and lightweight. But anyways, this is not about the foundation because of course I will have my update video on XX Revolution coming very soon, possibly next week after Twilight tutorials week. Now moving on to the eyes, I'm going to start with the ABH eye primer and just prime my eyelids. So I'm going to be focusing on the blues in the palette today with a little bit of True Love because Nightfall and True Love mixed together, beautiful. So first dipping into Nightfall, I'm going to take that on the outer edge. Someone requested that I do a tutorial with the face palettes as an eye palette, so I think I might do that for my next video. And with this blue, the more you pack on, the darker it gets, so you can kind of decide how dark and deep you want it to be. Okay, so next I'm dipping into True Love and I'm just going to dust that on the edges of the blue and also on the inner corner. I've said this before, but I possibly think this is my favorite shade out of the palette. I just love this pinky purple shade. You want it really kind of concentrated in the crease and then diffused out by the brow bone. So dipping into a tiny bit of Dawn, which is that light beigey shade, right up by the brow bone to kind of help that blend. So I'm actually going to take my wet wipe and just clean up the edges just so I can kind of see what I'm working with. Now moving on to the lid, I'm going to take the NYX Glitter Primer to prime my lids. You don't need to do this because the shimmers stick by themselves, but even before I dropped my palette, I was using this primer to prime for shimmers just because I feel like it grabs onto all of the glittery particles in shimmers and it just makes it pop even more. But like I said, this is not a necessary step. This is just what I want to do and I haven't done it in any of my other tutorials, so I thought I would do it today. And because it's kind of like a clear primer, it's not as messy as, not messy, but it's not as precise as cutting the crease with an actual concealer. And on my lid, I'm going to go into the shade Night Sky, which is this kind of sky blue shade. And I like to take a flat synthetic brush and kind of swirl it around in there. I hope that lighting's better. So yeah, I just like to take a flat synthetic brush and swirl in there and it picks up loads of product. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply that to my lid. And you guys can see just how pigmented this is and there's no fallout. And you can see using the glitter primer underneath is really making those gold glitters stick. So I'm not saying go out and buy the NYX glitter primer, it's not necessary, but if you have it in your collection already, it definitely will help, you know, the shimmers just be more elevated. This look is actually reminding me of the palette packaging with the blues and the purple and the, like, you know, gold. And I'm just tapping because I don't want to cut crease, so I'm just tapping to diffuse that color all over. I think I might go in with Moonlit, which is the pinky shade, so I'm going to flip my brush and take the other side. Like I said, I like to swirl in there to pick up the product, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that right onto my inner corner. These shimmers are next level, guys, honestly. Flipping the brush over, no extra product, just gonna blend that bluey shade into the pink. Like that, guys, how cute. I'm gonna go into Nightfall, which is the matte blue shade, just a tiny dab of that, blending it right into that blue shimmer on the outer edge. So I'm going to take the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer because I haven't used this in ages, and I'm just going to put that right underneath my eyes. Is this the right shade? I have about 4 shades of this concealer that are all round about the same colour. Like, look at these shades. Are they not all the same thing? I don't... I think the shade I just took is golden, but I might go in with a little bit of caramel because it seems to be a little bit brighter. I'm going to take a little bit of that. Or was that the shade I was using before? Guys, I really can't remember. So I'm just blending that out with my sponge. This is a Beauty Blender sponge, by the way. It's just one of their limited edition colors, I believe. This concealer does dry pretty fast, so you want to work pretty fast with it. It's a decent concealer though, but I thought I had a brighter shade than this. They all look pretty yellowy. I'm gonna go on top with the Oma Beauty concealer, just a tiny bit. This is the shade Honey Honey, which is really bright for me. So I'm just gonna use it to brighten ever so slightly. I'm just concentrating that right on that inner corner to brighten. Okay, now to set, haven't used this in a while. I'm gonna take my Vichy powder, Derma Blend powder, just a little bit of that to set underneath my eyes. And because this powder is translucent, I'm just gonna take a little bit of it and set the rest of my face as well. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to face palettes, and of course I have my two, Paradise Glow and Golden Hour. I'm going to talk about Golden Hour quickly because I have seen a few reviews from you guys talking about the bronzer, saying that it's a bit too red undertoned for you. So if you find that this is too red, you can easily neutralize it with the contour because this is more of a neutral cool tone shade. So let me show you what I mean. I'll swatch the bronzer. So this is the bronzer, which is kind of like a browny red tone. You can easily just add the contour on top and it will turn it more brown, if you see what I mean. So you can kind of customize them how you want, guys. If you like a really red tone bronzer, then you can just use the bronzer alone. If you like something a bit toned down, a bit more brown, then you can just mix the two. So let me show you once again. This is the bronzer by itself. And then this is it once you add the contour to it. So you see how it just turns it more brown, and then this one is obviously more red. So that's why there's multiple shades in the palette, so you can kind of custom and blend your own shade. And then I'll swatch the contour here so you guys can see. So bronzer, contour, and then them mixed together to get your own custom shade. So like I said, feel free to do what you want once you get your palette. Don't think just because I named it Bronze Belle that you have to use this as the bronzer and this is the contour. You can do whatever you want, guys. It's your palette, like you bought it. You can mix and blend. I even saw someone mix the bronzer with the blusher to get it even more red because that's what they like. Everyone likes different things, and of course I'm only one person. It was very hard for me to kind of pick shades that's going to suit a multiple of skin tones, but I tried my best and I hope you guys can appreciate that. So I'm taking Paradise Glow, of course the palette that I kind of created for my skin tone or roundabout my skin tone, and I'm going to go into Bronze Goddess, which is my ideal bronzer, and these are very, very soft and pigmented, guys, so you want to make sure you're taking a small amount and tapping it off and just bronzing up the area. So you see how that just works beautifully for my skin tone. It's not too dark, it's perfect in terms of creating that darker outer shadow and also carrying that around my forehead. Even though they're super pigmented, they do just blend out beautifully, especially if you've set that area. But I hope you guys can see just how bronzed that makes my face, like a nice tan, sun-kissed, warm glow. And I think for blusher, I'm gonna go into the Golden Hour palette and take Blushed Baby Girl, which is kind of like the cherry plum shade, and just blush up my cheeks. Just because I have purple in my crease, I don't wanna go for an orangey blush. I do kind of like to match my blush to my eye look, so I'm just using Blushed Baby Girl to give like a bronzy, why do I keep saying bronzy, a berry blush cherry look. Taking a little bit of bronzer down the sides of my nose, and then for highlight, going into my Paradise Glow highlighter, just gonna glow up my face. And these highlighters blend like a dream. They're very pigmented, so you don't need a lot, but they do blend out beautifully and diffuse into a soft glow, as you guys can see. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my lower lash line, and I'm going to take the same purple and blue. So I'm just starting with True Love buffed out underneath the lower lash line. Oh wow, I really smoked out this side, didn't I? And then taking a small dab of Nightfall, which is the dark blue, right on the outer edge. So that is the look, guys. I'm going to go ahead and throw some lashes on. These are by a brand called Lash Magnifique, and they're in the style Bernice, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, lashes are on. Now we're going to move on to my lip set, and I'm going to start with the lip liner and just outline. So I'm taking Gone Rogue first. I think I'm going to mix both lip glosses today. So I'm going to take a little bit of Muse as well, which is the lighter caramel type of brown, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that in the center. So we get the best of both worlds. So that is the lip combo, and I think that is everything, guys. I'm gonna quickly, you know, fix up my hair and I'll come back to you. Okay guys, and this is the final look. What do you think? I absolutely love this eye look. The shimmers are just so, they have micro gold glitters, so they're just shimmering and they're just so beautiful. Like, I love this combination. The colors kind of remind me of the night section of my palette, minus the orange of course, but these kind of purpley blue pinky shades. I hope you're enjoying all of these tutorials. I just wanted to make sure that you have some inspiration when you finally get your order and you kind of have a variety of looks to choose from, because I know bigger palettes to some people can be a bit overwhelming and it's like, where do I even start? So I wanted to give you some color combination inspirations. You can of course do whatever you want and do whatever color combos you want, but just in case you do feel a little bit stuck or like overwhelmed, then these are some looks that you can easily throw together. Tomorrow's look should be a little bit more neutral because we're actually going to be using the face palettes to create an eye look as well as on the face. So yeah, tune in for that, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care. Bye.